CNC, Crispus and Hollis. So these stories are kind of dovetailing into each other, and they tell a sordid tale. There's a young woman, Brittany Watts in Ohio. She unfortunately had a miscarriage. 22 years old, the baby wasn't viable. It was miscarried. Even the pathologist is saying the baby was dead before it was ever born. She is being charged with abuse of a course. Now, it has to be horrible to be in a state like Ohio and the restrictive law of abortion law they passed. Remember, they had that 11-year-old girl, a 10-year-old girl that was raped and had to go to another state to get an abortion because the abortion laws in Ohio are so restrictive. Case in point, another young woman, Kate Cox of Texas, was told by her doctor that the fetus was not viable. In other words, it's not viable. And it could cost her life or her future fertility. She had to go to court to win the ability to have an abortion, which should be a medical decision. They certainly should not need to be men in robes, unless one of those men is her husband, making decisions like that. But they are. And then, of course, the criminal attorney general of Texas, he should be in jail. And potentially, if Trump is reelected, that might potentially be the attorney general of the United States of America. So let's not pretend like that's not a reality. That woman, Kate Cox, had to leave the state so she wouldn't die or risk her fertility, because that is how obtrusive these abortion laws are. And you best believe that if they get power, men like them will permeate the atmosphere. They will be in all levels of government, and there's no doubt at all they will try to make abortion illegal everywhere. So there will be no blue states. There'll be no way where to go to have your medical attention given to you. There is no doubt they would do it. Am I mad about what's happening in Gaza? Yes. Am I so mad that I will willingly let America turn into Gilead? No. Because these are men who are showing you what they will do. These are men who often say, we want the government out of our business. We want the government so small it can't interfere with us. But you want it big enough to be in a woman's vagina. You want it large enough to be obtrusive to them. This is about one woman loses a baby that is not viable, and she's being charged with abuse of a course. Another woman would be forced by the state to bear that baby, risking her future fertility and potentially her life. And that is not just control, that is cruelty. These are cruel, small-minded men who are determined to control anything they can. The people that yell freedom the most only want the freedom to have a gun and to tell black people how to wear their hair, or women to do with their bodies, or to tell people what they can read or learn. That's not freedom. I have no doubt that these men would permeate another administration. They would be all through it. They would be the kind of people that will tell you, and there's no doubt they would try to put in place, and have tried to put in legislation that if you leave a state to get an abortion, that could be a crime. Some people have proposed being able to kill doctors and pregnant women who seek abortion. This is not a fantasy. These things have been proposed by state legislatures all across the country. And if they are allowed to get in power, these things will become law. And they don't need your vote. The Supreme Court knew that Roe versus Wade, that most people were not for the Roe versus Wade being overturned. And they did it anyway. Most people are for a woman's right to choose, but still, men like this will decide the future of this nation, and I refuse to let that happen. I'm upset about the children of Gaza. I am upset about what I see, the barbarity and the brutality going over there. Am I so upset that I'm going to say, I don't care what happens here? That's not true. I do not want my granddaughters and my daughters having to go through stuff like that. I'm not going to be so short-sighted that I look the other way while men like that sit in the halls of power. I will not do it. These are small-minded men with power who will do the most heinous things. Nothing is more invasive, nothing is more troublesome or hard for a woman than losing a child, and let alone external influences deciding that there should be some legal jeopardy for that. Her body, her choice. I remember the very same people who didn't want to wear masks and didn't want the government telling them what to do, now want women, the most invasive thing of all, to tell a woman what she has to do. And I have no doubt that these are the kind of men that would sit in the halls of power, and it wouldn't be Texas. It wouldn't just be Texas. It would be everywhere. It wouldn't be Ohio. It would be everywhere. All these problems everywhere. Women scared to go to doctors. Women scared to get health care. Women scared to have conversations. Women scared to have contraceptives. That's not the place I want to live. I could be mad about Gaza, but not so mad that I'm willing to turn America into Gilead. There's a little note from the GED section. Got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.